Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the final whistle here on the Bama Standard. You know what time it is. We got the all-star panel here. You know, myself, Matt Kadyn, but we got the one and only Chris James, a.k.a. Dan's big brother. Chris, how you doing?
Bama Nation. Bama Nation. What's good? What's good, panel? The All-Star cast. Justin, Dan, Matt.
You all swole.
Let's get it, man.
Let's get it.
Let's get it, man.
Next to Chris James, we got Coach Moog in the
What's
house.
good? Roll Tide, baby. Let's get it, man. Got a good show tonight. I'm excited.
Let's go. I know. We're excited, as you can tell. We got the final whistle, Dan. Dan, you doing all right today?
I'm always good, brother.
Ooh,
bringing
out the goods. And the one and only, that football insider. You know him. Ty Hayes. How you doing, my brother?
Good to be back after my week-long excavate promoting my OnlyFans. Reach around the table.
Nice. I love it.
Reach around the table.
That's so cool. And the one and only, the hardest working man in the building, Justin Riley, the
Bama Nation. Acknowledge me.
Acknowledge.
Ty, awesome. You missed it last week, man. Dan had some beef with you, brother.
Man, yeah. I told him, man, I can't have anybody on the show that were prettier than me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, go ahead and cut off your camera then, bro.
Hey, yeah, it's a good thing you can't see us then.
Put your camera on, bro.
That's all right, Chris. Don't be hating with your radio face.
Oh, wait. Hey. Calm it down, man.
Technical foul.
Dan has been on it these past two. There's some anger residing from the depths. They're starting to manifest. We need to, before we start the show, to just kind of take some time to talk about this, Dan.
No, man, I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just want to make sure we have to go.
One thing Crick can tell you about me, he never seen me get dressed coming up because I stayed ready.
Well, I hope he wouldn't watch you get dressed. So
yeah. Pause.
Big pauses.
Because you never bathe.
Hey, shout out.
Hey.
Shout out to this person in
Salt
our
Lake
super
City.
chat.
Let's
Salt
go.
Lake City.
What's up, Salt Lake?
We like
Man,
that.
We're going to reach the West.
Say hello to
What's
College
y'all?
Sexton for us.
Oh yeah,
my
Sexton
gosh.
is out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, guys.
Colin, is that you?
Before we get rolling, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's what keeps us motivated and keeps Dan in control. If you're in a live chat, get rowdy tonight. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section. We're going to say some things that are probably going to get on your nerves tonight and rub you the wrong way. So you should probably watch the replay because if you're in the chat, we're going to expose it. But anyway, we're brought to you by Workspace Solutions. They're the ones who allow this show to exist. They put together this platform for us. They pay the bills, and we're here and we're grateful. So we're coming out on fire tonight. We started a new segment called Versus. It was a hit last week. Well, if it's a hit, keep it rolling, right? Well, in order to properly execute this, we got to hand it over to Coach Smook. Coach,
All right,
take it away.
everybody. All right, everybody. So tonight, we're going to do this thing. We're going to keep it clean. Now, we see that y'all enjoyed this Versus segment last week between Final Whistle Dan and Chris James, a.k.a. Dan's big brother. So this week, we're going to hit it off with another segment, all right? We got another segment we're going to debate. And this week, we're going to start it off this week. We're going to start off with Chris. The Versus segment of this week is Kadyn Proctor versus Terrence Ferguson.
Ooh.
Who's going to see the field first and why? Chris, it's on you. Oh, wait, this way. Go ahead.
Well, let me tell you. Well, Terrence Ferguson, first off, is going to lock down that guard spot, which will allow Kadyn to slide out the tackle. And the real battle is going to be between Elijah Pritchett and Kadyn Proctor because Ferguson is going to lock that thing down. That boy from Peach County, Georgia, that Peach County Trojan, he's built for it, man. He's built for it, Dan. He's built for it. What's that?
All right, that's time.
Y'all got me on the
Time.
timer.
He done got his time.
Wow, I thought he didn't pay his minutes. But
Hey, we ain't in the boxing ring. I had to break out.
I was about to plug up the Mint Mobile sponsor.
So we talking about T-Mobile.
So Dan, what you got? What? Who is it? Who is it? Kadyn, Proctor, or Terrence Ferguson?
Well, let me tell you this, brother. I hate you let this knucklehead go first.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because I have to agree. I got to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a versus, but I have to keep it real. I'm telling you, man, my guy Terrence Ferguson is going to lock it down. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to make it about Kadyn Proctor since you gave him first. So we're going to make it about Kadyn Proctor. Kadyn Proctor is going to eventually be our starting left tackle. And I think that'll happen before season's end. And you can take that to the bank.
Words, man. Them big
From
words.
final whistle Dan.
Them big words because Elijah Preacher, brother. Elijah Preacher, he's the best football player I've seen from.
Wait a minute now. You had your time. You can't be talking off camera. Let me see.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, let's keep it clean, fellas.
This is a versus between Terrence Ferguson and Kadyn Proctor. We didn't say Elijah Preacher.
Let's keep it clean, fellas. Let's keep it clean, fellas. Let's keep it clean.
I'm just getting you how it's gonna be, bro.
All right, so both of y'all are saying the same thing. Terrence Ferguson locking down the left guard
Take it
spot,
to the
correct?
bank. Take it to the bank.
Right guard,
Everybody's
left
saying
guard. I think Booker's playing left guard, isn't he? What's Booker playing?
Booker playing right guard.
Booker playing right guard.
Yeah.
Left guard spot. Terrence Ferguson.
So if Ferguson is locking down left guard, then where does that put the other two freshmen that are coming in, Olaus, Alinen, and Miles McVay?
all right, that's the second part of our verses. What we got?
That's the second part of our verses. Where does that put those two incoming freshmen? Highly touted.
Give it to me. Give it to me. I'll take it.
I'm gonna let Luka take it.
You don't want to know where it's gonna put them. It's gonna put them on the side, right next to coach, for a minute, just for a minute only. You give them a year or two, they're gonna be right here next to coach. You know what I'm saying? That's where it's gonna put them.
Why is that?
Because, man, I'm telling you, Booker. Because the reason is Booker and Ferguson. That's the reason. That's the only reason I can tell you.
Okay.
You know, it's only 5 slots. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have one swing guy. We got to have a swing guy. That's gonna be dog court.
Put the camera on me. Put the camera
Lord.
on me.
I told you had a radio face, man.
Oh Lord. Hey. Flag on the play, man.
That's a technical foul.
You see the smile? Dan? You see the smile, Dan?
Only a smile, only a mother could love.
All right. So what? So you took the easy way out, Dan. I'm gonna break it down even more in depth. You see what I'm saying? You took the easy way. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Miles McVay is going to red shirt, and Olaus Alinen is gonna get some meaningful snaps. Some with the first unit. I'm gonna be very specific with it. McVay red shirts, Alien is gonna play.
I can see.
It's gonna play. And Alien, matter of fact, it's gonna be some rave reviews coming from him from camp about him pushing for a starting spot, and he's gonna get some reps with the ones.
Bold statement.
Now that's bold.
You heard it here first.
Okay, I like it. Hey, I'm gonna give some feedback on that one. That's a bold statement because which side of the offensive line is he going to be able to do that on?
Let me turn my hat to the other side.
He's gonna challenge Terrence Ferguson for a starting spot because
on the left side.
Booker, Latham, and Seth McLaughlin
They're locked in.
Are locked in. Because hey, one more thing
Big
now
Buck.
that you can't forget now. Down court.
You want me to tell you? And this is why I keep phasing out Dallas. Dallas is not reliable at center.
No,
right? He was not reliable at center. Mm-hmm. I think his inability to flex into guard last year when we needed a guard is going to put him behind when you got guys like Ferguson that's going to push. That guys like Elias, I can't say his name.
Olaus.
Alinen.
The guy's going to push, man. You can't. What is he? 6'7", 6'8", 300,
330.
Guys, you don't. That's like keeping a what's his name when he came in, started freshman year.
Evan Neal.
Evan Neal. Like trying to keep an Evan Neal off the field. You can't do it. So the moment Dallin Corey blows an assignment or blows a drive, I guarantee you this is the year where we don't see Saban hold the trigger with pulling some of these freshmen out there and playing meaningful playing situations. And that's why I could agree with you, Chris.
2017. We're going back to 2017?
Yes. Early in the season.
Matt.
What up? Listen, this is I like Kadyn Proctor, but I will say this. I don't think McVay red shirts. I actually think he's kind of going in the rotation. I think the way offensive line Wolf likes to rotate guys, I think he's going to try to rotate 8, 10, 11, 12 guys. So I think he's going to get meaningful snaps this year. I think it's a long season. I think Olaus will probably be a little bit ahead of McVay, but I got McVay still in the rotation plan for me. So that's my 2 cents.
Can I say one more thing? But Jaden Roberts, man, what does that leave him?
Well, first of all, it leaves you out of time because you've already said enough.
Oh, wow.
Throw a flag, coach.
Wow.
Throw a flag, coach.
Let's get it.
I'll keep mine short and sweet. Not to copy Matt, but I can't deny it. I had Miles McVay on the Bama Standard earlier this year. And one thing that stood out to me the most, and this is just before bowl prep, when I asked him who he's looking forward to going head-to-head the most, I was expecting an answer from, like, say, somebody from LSU or probably Auburn or maybe even Georgia. No, that wasn't his answer. His answer was, I want Will Anderson. I want Will Anderson in bowl prep. And that, to me, says he's going to be that dude.
Exactly. Ty Hayes?
Man, so the offensive line is always something so interesting. I just talked about this and said this exact phrase today, so I'm going to repeat it. I'm never surprised whenever offensive linemen come in and take a year to adjust. Just because in high school, think about it. You could be the number one offensive tackle in the nation. On a Friday night, you're blocking me. That doesn't show anything. When you get to college, the guy you're blocking, he was the best player in his state, in his town, on his team. So the baseline standard of athleticism, it's just so different. That being said, Coach Wolford got such a great haul along the offensive line last year. All of these guys are serious playmakers. When it comes down to Kadyn Proctor, Terrence Ferguson, I hate to be boring, but I do lean Kadyn Proctor because of the versatility of a Terrence Ferguson to play inside. He's a very athletic guy. We know Tommy Rees likes to get creative with his personnel, switching between 11 and 12. He's going to get these offensive linemen moving east and west. Terrence Ferguson has the athletic ability. Now, the question of Miles McVay and Olaus Alinen, this is where it gets interesting. I wonder if Olaus Alinen wouldn't be a little bit further ahead in the situation of he comes in 6'6", 315 pounds. Miles McVay comes in 6'6", 358. So if need be, Alinen has the ability to instantly slot into a guard position, and I don't know how much weight they're going to have him cut. So from a technical standpoint, I think all of them have the ability to come in and contribute. I agree with Matt where I don't know that they'll redshirt, but it's an interesting situation for all these guys to get the experience, but at the same time, they have the ability. This was a really impressive haul by Coach Wolford.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing you can say about this offensive line class, they get it right away. I feel like that I overuse it. They're on loan to Bama from the NFL. You look at how they performed in the 8A game. They didn't look like high school kids struggling to transition to the big boy game. They look like they've been doing it for a while. Now, that's just one game. That's a scrimmage. I totally get that. But there was confidence in them. They are playing with some nastiness, chip on their shoulder already, and they fit the persona that Eric Wolford has been searching for. Because one of the things that he said after that horrific offensive line in 2021 is never again, and so he went out and got the guys to form the line of never again.
Hey, Justice.
Yes, sir.
Lucian put out a 5. I like that. Highlight his 5 starting line. I like that. That'll be nice.
That would be
That
ideal.
is nice.
Like you talking
That's
about fantasy
very nice.
lineup based off just what's on paper.
That'll be
Yeah.
nice right there. Because you got veterans on both sides.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
You don't never
Well,
want to put
leave
veterans
this
side by
up.
side.
Who will be your reserves? Who will
wow.
be your reserves behind these guys, though?
Lucian, yeah, who you got in the next 5?
Outside of
Lucian?
Seth.
And you see, that's the exact point I meant about Olaus, right? Coming in at the size he does, he's prototypical stepping in to play either guard or tackle.
Yeah.
And that versatility, I think, is going to be big with Wolford, with Tommy Rees. I'm very excited for that.
But we were just talking about his mobility at his size, though.
Yeah.
Ideal for the type of run game. You talking about the way we want to pull the guards, you know, quick screens. We pull our guards out there. We push our guards to the boundary, and he can get out there. He can get moving and get downfield and get to that second level. And I mean, it would just be ideal. Hey, exactly. Hendricks, we've been saying this since last year, you know, or even the year Jai Hall was a freshman. Like that year, I feel like that year Kool-Aid could have started game 1 for me the way our DBs came out that year. You know,
Kool-Aid could have played receiver in that national championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that we stacked athletes that year, it threw me off the way Saban didn't allow those guys to get out there.
Man.
Oh man, come on.
Chat's in rare form, guys. And hey, shout out real quick to Lucian. He is the Bama Standard Fan of the Week. He was actually featured on the Bama Standard earlier tonight and got a chance to ask the panel questions. So he will be our star of the week. If you want a chance to be the Bama Standard Fan of the Week and even pick what show you want to come on, email us, thebamastandard@gmail.com. Tell us why you're the top fan, and then also why you feel like you should be on and what show you would like to be on. But yeah, that's about you, the fan. So y'all better start filling my inbox. And Lucian did answer your question. His backups, McVay, Ferguson, and Rock Montgomery.
Ooh, that's still nasty.
No down court.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, guys. I am convinced this is the year we see that attitude. Dalcourt is going to be. He was pouty last year, you know, and it was obvious he was the issue. Anytime he was at center, anytime he was he played a good drive in the Auburn game, you know, for like 4 players or 6 players or something like that. But the moment McLaughlin got back out there, just a different type of energy and grit you got to bring when you play in that position.
Man, our O-line is gonna be the make or break to a national championship. We're gonna depend on them. If we're gonna win a national championship this year, we got to be able to run the ball. We haven't done it the last 2 years. Well, the year before, we ran the ball with Brian Robinson in spite of that. That you know. So this year, man, if the O-line opening holes, we are gonna be tough to beat.
Yeah. Now, we don't have a 230-pound running back to lean on. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
We got some 215 though.
Yeah, we got some nice size ones, but yeah, we don't have Brian Roberts. We don't have the Najee Harrises. We don't have the Bo Scarboroughs. You know,
you're not going to want to hit Jace McClellan, Roydale Williams,
right?
Mary Hayes, Jan Miller, and Richard Young all game. You know, 12 to 15 times a quarter, maybe. You gotta try to hit one of those guys. That's a lot, man. That's because Tommy Rees gonna run that style of offense, y'all.
And telling you from experience, from a safety man, dude, I used to hate physical teams. When Saban was at LSU, man, that doggone Joseph Adai and Justin Vincent, they were so dang on physical, man. Tennessee with Travis Henry, dog, they were gonna run like I'm telling you, dude. You cannot, it's nothing you can do about a team that's physical and can impose their will in the running game. Like 2 years ago in the championship game was the first time I ever felt helpless as a Bama fan, the way Georgia ran the ball on us in the fourth quarter. Yes. I was helpless
in the fourth quarter.
But that was just, but to be fair, Chris, that was just due to fatigue because the offense was not moving the ball.
Yeah.
So I think if we're scoring, we're sustaining drives, we're putting the ball in the end zone. That defense isn't tired. You're not going to see Zeus White just destroying our defense like he did.
It really wasn't him. It was dang on Cook. It was Cook.
Henry Toto too.
And McIntosh, yeah.
All right, Great topic, guys. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. We're not picking a winner here. We're just throwing an idea out there so we can give Bama fans some perspective. What does this offense look like under Ty Simpson should he win the job? And we'll start out with Ty Hayes, then move on to Matt, then final whistle Dan, referee Coach Smook, and then end it with Dan's big brother. Go right ahead.
So out of all of the quarterbacks, I think Ty Simpson presents the most balance, right? We know what he can do in the passing game, but I think a lot of people sleep on his mobility. And I think the thing I'd like to focus on with Ty Simpson, he might not have Jalen Milroe's mobility, but he has very impressive escapability. And that's something Bama fans became accustomed to with Bryce Young. And I'm certainly not comparing the two, but the ability to evade the pocket, keep your eyes downfield, and make the defense get greedy, make a mistake, and you're going to make them pay over top. That is something Ty Simpson provides to the offense. I think he's very similar to the lot of quarterbacks that Tommy Rees has worked with before. And I think that balance will be able to unlock multiple layers for the receivers to be able to work, whether that's deep, intermediate, and short. So Ty Simpson in the offense, I think, makes a lot of sense. But one of the interesting things is whenever we look at this, all three quarterbacks make sense with what Tommy Rees wants to do. That's the good problem to have. But Ty Simpson certainly adds a level of balance.
I agree. He definitely adds a level of balance, and I'm just going to take it a different level. I'm going to say Ty Simpson, is the quarterback under Joe Burrow. I mean, not Joe Burrow. I gave you my answer. Under Tommy Rees, I think he's going to be like Joe Burrow. And I'm not going to say Joe Burrow at LSU, but I'm going to say Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals offense, how, they're able to throw the ball effectively, but they're able to, when they play against the Kansas City Chiefs, Mixon's getting off. They're still running the ball. So it's going to be more of a methodical type approach. And I think with Ty Simpson, with the weapons that we have, with Tommy Rees's offense, I think it could similarly have that type of effect like a Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow-led offense. And so that's my 2 cents right there. Chris? Oh, who's next?
Well, Matt, real quick, hey, Matt, would you also, for the Bama fans who don't want to be compared to another SEC school, would you also compare it to an Alabama team under Jay Coker?
I'd say Jay Coker and, definitely like a Jay Coker cross with AJ McCarron. Yep. I think he has to have the savviness and order the command like a AJ McCarron or Jay Coker. And if he takes this position, I think he's going to have those intangibles where he's like, listen, guys, I'm the best quarterback for this job. And he's going to have that savviness like a Coker or McCarron. So, yeah, I'll keep it on Alabama. Sorry, Bama Nation.
Final whistle, Dan, what you got?
Well, like Ty said, I think Simpson is definitely the most complete quarterback out of the ones we have. That, and the thing I'm concerned about with him is his ability to take charge and be able to be in command of the offense, be able to shift pass protection, be able to read, coverages and everything. And the ability to push the ball downfield, on timely throws, we're going to be more balanced. So that should definitely help, but getting the rhythm with his receivers and everything, if he could do that, I feel confident, this will be our year.
Fair enough. All right. Coach Smook, and I think somebody from the audience here adds a good point. I mean, if you want to incorporate that in what you're saying, maybe an AJ McCarron or a Mac 10. But go ahead.
I think Jovi was here when I said that before about Ty Simpson. I get that same type of vibe. If he could find a good mixture of those two quarterbacks, he has that similar type build. He's more athletic than
both of them. Yeah.
Both of them. Yeah.
He's more athletic than Mac Jones, but has that same build. And I feel like he needs that charisma, like Matt was saying.
Yeah.
That charisma, like to say, I'm a little bit cocky because I'm here at Bama. I made it to Bama for a reason, dog. Like, let me slang it. Let me y'all listen to me. I got y'all. And honestly, when I look at the spring game, and after the second drive, Ty Simpson looked like he had more control of the offensive and the more of a grasp mentally on where his protection was doing, because a lot of his plays when he got off balance, it was because he saw the blitz coming. He knew he didn't have a protection. He didn't make that read. And then he would go out the next drive and you would see him talking to Jalen Milroe, hey, this the protection here, adjust here. So it's things like that. And then his ball placement to me is a lot better. He may not have the same strength of an arm as Jalen Milroe, but his ball placement is very unique. And if he could be more consistent on that and confident in that and not depend on arm strength, but actual timing with receivers, which is going to come with reps. But if he could depend on that and just trust the technique, the mechanics, having his feet placed right, when he's coming out of his drop back and not getting the double hitch, he's real bad about that double hitch, but it's effective for him. You can't knock what's been working for a quarterback, in this day and age. There's no technical way of releasing and everything now. There's a base foundation, but then they develop their own ways. But Ty Simpson, he has the tools, man. And with a guy like Tommy Rees, the tight end group he has, the running back stable he has, the offensive line he has, all he has to do is just deliver the ball, manage the game, and be a little savvy, have a little attitude, man. And I think he could be the guy, honestly.
All right, that leaves Dan's big brother. Take the stage, sir.
Okay. I think that Ty Simpson would be a guy like Buns, those guys, Kobe Prentice, those guys. I think he would be their best friend because he's the most gifted passer, without a doubt. And that play action, man, you get that defense biting in, and with the way Bun can take the top off the defense and Prentice guys like that, I think Ty Simpson is best suited for that. The only thing that's hurting Ty Simpson right now is youth. If Ty Simpson was a redshirt sophomore, junior, senior, he would without a doubt be starter because he throws on the run just as good as any quarterback I've seen, not named Bryce Young. Kind of like what what Ty said. But I also believe that that he gives us an element that will keep teams from putting the extra man in the box, the extra defender in the box. He'll make them play honest. And, but like I said, I really think it's whoever starts this year will more than likely be the starter next year. But it's a guy coming in, Julian Saying, that's going to have something to say about it. But I think right now is now or never. It's unfair to say it, but I think it's now or never for Ty because if Ty, for Ty, if he doesn't win the job this year, and just say if it's Milroe or Buckner, and they return as a starter next year, year 2, I don't care who's on campus. Julian Saying is going to be our starter. I don't care who's on campus. He's just that good. So it's now or never for him. And I think that with him, I think he knows that, and that's why I think that he's gonna show us something, man. I really have faith in him because Dan will tell you I was very high on him coming out of high school. Yeah. I told somebody he reminded me of a poor man, not initially a poor man, but Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. But by the way, how savvy he was on film, how he can get outside the pocket and throw darts on a run, moving to his right, moving to his left. And if he can do that, man, and if he can do that, I really believe that the competition, could be his. You know what I'm saying? And like we discussed on the previous show, the Bama Standard, I believe that regardless if Ty wins the job, I still think that it's going to be a package.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Freeze frame.
Hey, real quick, while Chris goes to pay his phone bill, Davis Lewis Love has a super chat for us for $10. Maybe we can go ahead and Venmo that to Chris. We can Venmo that to Chris. That way he can get back on here and contribute to the conversation. But yeah, he comments, we added another quarterback in case Ty or Jalen transfers in the fall. If that were to happen, we'd have a true freshman as a backup. The championship won't be in the hands of a freshman due to injury. And that's what's the most amazing thing. And I mentioned this on the previous show. Nobody ran off because Buckner came in. You got 3 guys who legitimately believe they're going to take this starting job. That's really interesting. Yeah. So that says something about their character. Go ahead, Coach.
Ty Hayes made a good point about that was kind of alluding to what Davis just said when the Buckner news first came out, and it was somewhere in the ballpark of like, imagine we get to a LSU week and Jalen Milroe's having the season of his life, and Simpson didn't win the job, he's already gone. Do we really want Eli Holston or Dylan Lonergan thrown into that situation, knowing what Brian Kelly is coming back with this year? Yes, we got them at home, but we know how those games go. And so it was a safe bet. But you got a guy like Ty Simpson, man. If he doesn't win this year, it's not because he wasn't good enough. Honestly, it's not because he wasn't good enough. It's just he never assumed that mental part of what it needs to be a quarterback at Alabama, like Jay Coker ended up doing against Ole Miss. And that's what I feel like he needs before. He needs that, like, going into Texas.
So and this is just maybe me ranting on my frustrations with Bill O'Brien, but I have to wonder this. The offense, obviously it was a Bama offense, but the spin Bill O'Brien put on it required such a cerebral quarterback. I always wonder, okay, Bryce is now uber prepared for the NFL from the mental aspect. I mean, goodness gracious, he is NFL ready from the mindset. There's no question there. But a guy like Jalen Milroe, a guy like Ty Simpson, if you're not getting those 1 reps, those option routes, they can get real shaky real quick. I mean, Matt, you'd know better than I would for sure. But just even thinking about it, I just get confused because of all of the options from X, Y, Z, all over the place. I'm interested in the evolution of these guys under Tommy Rees, because Tommy Rees, in my opinion, runs an offense that's more conducive for success for more types of quarterbacks. Bill O'Brien was very lucky he had Bryce Young and a quarterback that understood what he wanted to do. That offense doesn't click with 99.9% of college football quarterbacks. So that's why I'm so interested in the new OC.
I agree.
Yeah, we won in spite of Bill O'Brien, not because of him. There's no question about that.
Man, I got to get an Apple computer.
But Matt, from the
Mint Mobile /ATTS.
From a wide receiver standpoint, in terms of your development, what does this do for your group's confidence, knowing that we still haven't defined the quarterback situation yet? Is this something that kind of bothers the chemistry and the belief in whoever's going to be picked, or is this something that your confidence is already there, and you're going to do what you do regardless?
Yeah. Who you want to go first? Sorry.
Yeah.
From a receiver's perspective, I think, they obviously have the rapport. A lot of these guys been there. You look at Bond, Prentice. But, I don't think it has an effect. I think the only effect that the receivers care about, can you deliver a good ball and get the ball on time? For me, if I run this route, I need to have the ball there. So, obviously, it's good to hear that Milroe's working out with these guys in Florida and Ty Simpson's doing his thing. So right now is key. This integral, the offseason. Everybody's on campus. We got 7-on-7, all that stuff. That's the time, that we need to be, building that confidence, building that rapport, and making sure no matter who the quarterback is, all the quarterbacks, whether it's Buckner, Milroe, or Simpson, they need to be throwing an accurate ball. They need to be getting the ball on time to these receivers. And the receivers, I got to say it, they need to be working on their hands, working on their jugs, because we had too many drops in the 8A game. So, yeah, I think it's important right now that they work on that timing, but I don't think it affects them who it is. I think they just care about, can you get the ball accurately on time and get this offense rolling.
Yeah. Right. And one last thing on that, the piggyback off Matt, with the receiver, they're going to have so many reps this summer with each quarterback that it's not going to matter. It's like the only difference would be if you had a left-handed guy like Tua or somebody that threw the ball as hard as Brody. All these quarterbacks have good good arms throw. You know, it's like it's nothing that separates them really as far as arm strength, arm talent. So, and you don't have like I said, you don't have a lefty throwing the ball, so the ball it's gonna come out the same, pretty much with all of them. It may be it's not gonna be a very big change of the ball. As long as the ball gets there, hit them in stride, that's all that's gonna matter. So this is really gonna be a big adjustment.
And one thing the fans need to realize and stop doing, don't compare whoever takes the helm to Bryce Young, to Tua Tagovailoa, to Mac Jones. You can't hold them to that standard. There's nobody right now that can even hold Bryce Young's job. That's calling it like it is. Well, I think that we're getting too lost in what we've done recently, and we're forgetting what initially got us there. If you're sitting here expecting us to replicate what we did in 18, 19, and 20, and think that's the only way, be all end all, to win a title, you're sadly mistaken, because we did things a little bit differently before that new era of offense came in, and it worked, and it's still working for Georgia, who's using our plan. So if we don't go back to the air it out, don't start complaining. We got some elite running backs in the main offensive line. They're going to start pushing people around.
Hey, Justin, and back to the concept of things, of how play calling is going to be big on how successful this year is. It was so many plays, and I went back and I caught myself watching Kansas State game. Mind you, this is the end of the season. This is 2 full years under Bill O'Brien, running his style of offense, giving this option-based offense for the wide receiver, this option concept. You know, not implementing the basic levels, not implementing crossers, depth, reads. This is straight up option NFL style offense. And the 3 passes that Bryce missed to Jermaine Burton were all quote unquote misreads. You want me to tell you why there's misreads? Because Jermaine Burton wasn't playing the X at the beginning of the year when, those reads were being shown. He was the Z. But Kansas State, he goes to the X. He's making reads on from the X position that he was making on the Z side. And he's not understanding that. But Bryce is understanding, hey, the concepts are different on both sides. So when you able to simplify a concept and let kids fly around and make plays, that's why Steve Sarkisian was able to highlight the athletes that he was able to highlight: Ruggs, Judy, Smitty. When those guys came in, then what's my guy came in after Sarkisian? It was Lane Kiffin first and then Sarkisian. But they created mismatches. They didn't make it to where they were trying to highlight every mismatch, every play. That's not how you expose defenses. You pick one. You test the waters. You have a basis of what you're trying to get accomplished. You go into your game with a game plan. I feel like we didn't have a game plan a lot of times with Bill O'Brien. Mm-hmm. It was like, hey, let's see what Bryce can make work, and then when
throw it against the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah, and when we find it, let's run it. But it would be games where Bryce was off and the run game was pushing, and we would totally evade the run game. So, hopefully, understanding that there will be actual concept implemented in that wide receiver room to where there aren't those small misreads on clear plays where it should be a post, and the wide receiver is thinking, man, it's a post here, but I know I'm supposed to read hitch. Like that got to be cut out. And once we eliminate that, there won't be as many drop balls because they're not thinking as much. They're just playing football.
It was Dable and Loxley in between them.
And
you remember what Loxley, what he did best was get the ball in the hands of Ruggs, quick, those zone read, slant, bam, get it to Judy on the crossing route, get it. It wasn't like with Bill O'Brien. It looked like it was never a method to the madness. With all the other, you kind of saw a rhythm with the other coordinators. It wasn't like Lane Kiffin. You knew at the beginning of the game, the first half, he's going to piss you off because he's going to get you behind the chain on second down more than anybody. But what he was doing was going sideline to sideline, trying to wear down the defense for late in the games. People didn't know that. What's he doing? A lot of screens, a lot of sideline to sideline. Then he's going to hit you up the mouth, up the middle, And but another point is like, dude, we did it with Jalen Hurts, who was a true freshman. All these guys we have now are more are better passers than Jalen was in 2016 right now. And look where it got us to. One play, one defensive stop away from winning the national championship.
And all he was giving was read one side. If it's not there, go. That's what he was giving, and we did that.
All right, we could keep going, but we got other topics, and one of these topics is a very big one because we received some big news here recently, Bama Nation. Tony Mitchell is back. So, what does that mean to the
Woo!
defense? And could he possibly be starting once he has served his sentence? What do we think, guys? We will start out with Final Whistle Dan, then go to Coach Smook, then Chris, Matt, and let Ty Hayes round it off. And Dan, you're on mute, sir. Get off your leapfrog and join us for some quality streaming.
I'm sorry that you used the phrase after his sentence. But after I was hard. I think I was the hardest out of all of us on Tony Mitchell. But after listening to him talk, go public the first time, I truly believe that he was sincere, in his message. But generally, he's a good kid. You know what I'm saying? And I think I don't know. He's kind of a little bit behind the ball. As far as getting playing time early, but I expect him to contribute in a big way. I've always liked this film. I've been talking about him for years. Chris can tell you, I've been talking about Tony Mitchell for years. Even when he was committed to Tennessee, he has it. He put on more weight. But I expect him, to be a big contributor at safety. For toward the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get into the rotation in some capacity.
All right. Smook.
And right there with you, man. I honestly don't think there will be this long drawn out suspension or punishment of him. The kid he graduated with like a 3.8 GPA or something like that. He graduated early, enrolled early. He was set up, and like most kids, I guarantee you there's more athletes that got caught in the same type of situation, but because it's Tony Mitchell at the University of Alabama, of course it's going to get blown up. How he handles and responds to this and what he's done thus far shows me that he has somebody in his corner that's telling him, man, we failed you as your support team, but we won't fail you again. And that's big for an athlete with that type of pressure. You're talking about a hometown kid, man. And just imagine having to go back home, being in the state of Alabama, having to go back home and hear that talk. That's why you missed out on your chance to go to the NFL. Like that settles. And you talking about from a football standpoint, the kid could go out there and start in front of Christian Story. He can go out there and compete against the transfer safety coming in right now today. Like, and we know it. And his issue, like we say about most incoming freshmen, was weight. Can he put on weight? The kid put on weight. Because Tony Mitchell got to be like 210 right now, y'all. The kid looked like Deebo Samuels at safety, man. It's crazy how thick he got. So you think about just from a physicality standpoint, it's having something like him and Caleb Downs at over top. Guys that they're going to play discipline because they're that ready mentally. Man, that could be dangerous for us. That could be big, especially going forward over the next 3 years.
And shout out to Donnie Lee, who's been working with him in the lab to get his weight up, as well as spending a lot of time as a mentor to him. So that's about to pay off. Chris.
I think with Tony Mitchell, I told Dan, we were talking about it when they both signed. I said it wouldn't surprise me if we had two freshmen starting, at safety at some point this year. Tony Mitchell is that good, man. People don't realize, like, he is a 5-star. Like, I don't care what the rankings say. He was a top 10 player his junior year. They bumped him down, but he is a 5-star talent. The kid can cover. He can play corner. He's versatile. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him start at some point. And, Saban likes to handle discipline in-house. It wouldn't surprise me if he got a 1-game suspension. We had guys that did a whole lot worse. They only served like a 1-game suspension. People are like, well, they're not suspending them long enough. So I'm pretty sure Saban's gonna get the butter from the duck this summer. He's gonna do crazy stuff with the strength and conditioning coach. He better be glad TJ's retired. I tell you that.
No kidding.
He better be glad TJ's retired. I kid you not, because
I witnessed some of those stories.
This summer would have been rough for him. But he's going to pay the piper this summer, and Saban likes to handle his discipline in house. So it would surprise me to see him miss just the first game. I'm not saying he might miss one, he might miss two. It's not like he shot at somebody or robbed a store or something crazy like that. I mean, what he did was bad. He should have made a smarter decision. But you know what I'm saying? We've seen kids do worse, way worse. So for him to to get probation, the legal side is being handled, and Saban's going to punish him. So whatever the suspension Saban decides to give him, that's what we all just got to accept. There's no rule. The NCAA didn't suspend him. You know what I'm saying? So Coach Saban can give whatever suspension he sees fit. But the thing with Tony Mitchell, if he picks up that playbook by camp and gets in there and dominate, and starts showing what he can do, he will factor into this rotation, and it will be a heavy piece for us this year, right alongside Caleb Downs.
Hey, speaking of suspensions, nothing beats Matt and Chris when Juwan Simpson got in trouble, and his punishment, because everybody was railing Shula about it. They said his punishment was that Mike Shula made him eat ice cream, and he hates ice cream. That's what he told the media. That's what he told the media. Juwan did. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, to piggyback off what Chris said, I don't even see him getting the whole game. I think it's what happened with Tony Mitchell. I think it happened. Unfortunately, it was unfortunate that happened, but I think it, all things, happened for a reason. I'm glad it happened for him right then and now, that way it doesn't affect his career down the line. And I think he's going to be all 10 toes in, all heads on deck. Focus now. You get a second chance. You're able to avoid jail time. We've all made mistakes and everything, but, to have an opportunity and not lose your opportunity, I think he's going to be that much more focused, bought in, listening to what Coach Saban is there. He wasn't there for spring, so he enrolled early, but he wasn't there for spring. So now he knows he's got to up the ante. He's got to make up for lost time. So he's going to be bought in. Yeah, he's going to have to go through Coach Saban's punishment, but I think that's what's going to help make him be that much greater, because Coach Saban can now, channel him, focus on him, build that bond with him, and really get him to outplay his performance. And listen, having Caleb Downs there, he's going to want to be pushed to be, those type of guys are going to push each other to really, possibly be the starters by the fall by Texas game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Downs and Mitchell. If Tony Mitchell is balling out like that with Caleb Downs, this is going to be Coach Saban's suspension for him, a slap on the wrist, because he's going to be playing. He's going to be starting. So.
Dude, can you imagine? You got 3 years of him and Downs, man, and Hurley and Ricks. 3 years of those dudes, man.
Yes.
And Brayson Hubbard, who's going to factor in, and Pope.
I think Pope going to be a net. Oh my God.
Yeah, get ready for Pope.
Not even naming, dude.
Pope a problem.
Deep. I just hope they don't
is the
out.
second. Sorry, Pope is the second coming of Vince Sari.
I said that and it ain't because he the white boy. It ain't because of that. That boy has some crazy athleticism that people are not looking at. I mean, he will windmill on you. He will windmill on you, and put him on your 4x1 team if you want to. You get what I'm saying? Like the boy and loves to hit. Jermaine Burton said, he'll let you know. We're deep, man. Tony Mitchell is just ahead. He just comes in with it already, man. He just comes in with it.
Pope is a playmaker, dude. At Buford, his junior year, he came down here on the goal line and got the tackle, stripped. They were playing Lee County State Championship game.
Yeah.
He came down on the goal line and hit the back and stripped them. And Buford won the state championship because the back had a wide open hole.
I remember watching that.
Pope came in and stripped the guy. He's that type of guy, that type of playmaker.
He just got a nose for the ball.
It's always like Dylan Lee. Guys like him.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Lee. Yeah, all those guys.
All right. Ty, you've had a chance to hear all these explanations. Now it's time for someone who has the credentials behind them.
Well, yeah, so Tony Mitchell is very talented.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would be a little bit surprised to see him in a starting role this year. I'm not going to lie. I think it'll be Caleb Downs. I think Key is probably further ahead. I think guys like even Story probably a little bit further ahead in coverage, and that's going to be a big thing in the secondary this year, especially if we're starting a true freshman in Downs. But I do think he's going to contribute. He's too good not to contribute. For me, it's just the fact that he didn't come in during the spring. You have guys that have legitimate college football experience who now have repertoire with the team and all of that. And all of your points are salient that Tony's going to be working very hard, but this is Alabama. Everybody's going to be working hard. And now that Tony came back, they're going to be working that much harder. So that, that's not unique to one person. Now they're all going to up their game. And at that point, I think this secondary is going to benefit tremendously from Tony Mitchell. He's got the ability to play either nickel. He can play corner if need be, but safety, I think the future of safety is going to be incredible with Caleb Downs and Tony Mitchell. Like I said, guys, I would be shocked to see him starting, not because of ability. The ability is never the question. It's just that they did a great job in the transfer portal getting a Jalen Key to come in here, and he has that college football experience, and some of the other guys were there in the spring, so they just get that leg up in that competition. But this is going to be, there's no way around that this isn't good for the secondary, getting somebody that gifted to come in.
Absolutely. And I'll close this out with something simple. Ryan Dillard already kind of beat me to the punch. It's just extra motivation for the kid. He almost had everything taken away from him, not taking it for granted now. And I think, first of all, yes, he has all the intangibles, all the measurables, just a freak of an athlete, a guy that you can't keep off the field. You have to sit here and think, of ways to keep him off the field. We all get that. The biggest thing is he just experienced grace, guys. He almost lost everything. And now he's a guy that with that grace, his back's against the wall, chip on his shoulder, short leash. His next offense could very well send him on his way. He doesn't squander it. And a person who's kind of in that state is a very dangerous football player. And you're about to see him, not because of his ability, but because of that, reach his maximum potential. And he may very well end up telling some upperclassmen, sit down. Your time is up. My time is now.
Ooh. And he's the best cover. He's the best cover guy at safety right now. Like day one. Day one, he's the best cover.
You put him over Downs?
Next to Downs.
Oh, yeah.
Next to Downs.
Really? Downs is good, but as far as coverage,
no, bro. I've seen
What's your
Downs
top
walk
three,
down.
Chris? What's your top three?
I would disagree.
No, from a coverage standpoint,
Best coverage safeties.
Like,
Give me
no,
your top three.
Downs is a baby Ed Reed. That's where I'm gonna put him. Okay. But Mitchell is more of a Rod Woodson.
Downs has more sideline to sideline speed.
Later in his career. You remember Rod Woodson started out as a corner, but he got big and they moved him to safety later in his career. Who else?
Yep.
Malcolm Jenkins from the Saints. He was a corner and they moved him to safety. But the reason why they moved Tony to safety because he's just the biggest crap. But as far as coverage, y'all got to remember Tony was a 5-star corner.
He was, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like Caleb Downs could walk down and play corner. I feel like I've seen Caleb Downs. I've seen Caleb Downs walk down and have to play switch release and lock down the switch release.
Chris, to your point, Tony may have been a 5-star corner. Caleb was a top 5 player.
Yeah.
Tony
let me tell you this, man.
Tony ended up as a 4-star, number 102 in the nation.
But
I think that's underrated.
It had nothing to do with ability.
But I agree. But we got to remember, Caleb was top 5 in the nation.
I think Caleb may have been the best high school football player in America.
I agree.
But I'm talking about from a pure coverage standpoint. From a pure coverage, Tony Mitchell.
We're not gonna down that hill. Let me tell you, man. Caleb Downs would have been a 5-star corner, 5-star safety, 5-star receiver, 5-star running back. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you, man. Caleb Downs is a completely different animal.
He's built differently. I
think he's got more range.
Yeah, definitely more range.
His coverage speed,
everything, range, coverage speed, everything.
You know why? Because Tony Mitchell done got up to 210. But Tony Mitchell, when he was down, You look at Tony
That's a
Mitchell
good
Jr. tape.
I'm telling you, Chris, I put you on
That's
Tony
a fair
Mitchell.
point. That's a fair point. I was looking at his senior tape. That's a good point, Chris.
Tony got big, man. Tony got big like Mark Barron. He's big.
All right,
That's a
guys,
good one.
we have ran out of time on that one, and I think we might need to have a part 2 next week and pick up where that left off.
Good.
What do you think? What do you think,
Yeah.
chat? All right, so
What a great problem to have.
Bro,
Yeah.
what?
What a great problem
two
to
true
have.
freshmen. Two true freshmen. Who covers better? That's who gonna get the starting safety pot. Man, that's crazy.
all right, to begin the wrap up process, we like to always go with crazy fan tweets / hot takes, and we got one this week. Matter of fact, it kind of was inspired by the recent declaration that the 2020 national championship team was the best ever in Alabama football history. Well, that inspired me last week to bring on George Teague as well as EJ Jr., who were part of some of the best defensive teams in Alabama history. We all saw what happened in 92, and I have to remind those young folks in the audience, EJ Jr.'s defensive squad that won a national championship only allowed 5.5 points a game. So I posed a question in Twitter, and boy, got some responses. Who would win in a matchup between the 2020 national champion Alabama squad and the 1992 Alabama national championship squad? Well, I got a very creative response. One of those was, sorry, but 2020 Bama would absolutely stomp a mud hole in 1992 Bama. That, folks, is our hot take, crazy tweet of the week. Who wants to start this off? Chris James, then we go to Coach Smoot, then Final Whistle Dan, Matt Cadell, and Ty's going to round this off.
First off, nobody's stomping a hole in 92 Bama. Miami thought the same thing.
Nobody.
Nobody. Man, not with Curry and Copeland, and probably the best, maybe perhaps outside of Patrick Surtain, probably the best corner to come to Bama, and Antonio Langham.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and T, you know what I'm saying, a big time NFL starter with the Cowboys, George T. That man, that 92 was no slouch, man. And even though the 2020 offense, I think it will boil down to 2020 winning simply because the 92 offense outside of David Palmer, you take Palmer away and you got Lassie, but I don't think that we knew what was coming. I don't think that they would just be able to line up and run the ball down with Barmore in the middle and Mathis in the middle. Those guys, I don't think they would have been able to just sit there and run it down our throat. So I take 2020 by a smidge just because of the high power offense with us just keep leaning on. I think 92 would have to punt so much that they'll get tired at the end of the game because too much Najee, man. Too much Najee, too much Waddle, too much Devontae. And I think that'll be the difference.
Smoot.
I mean, I'm right there with you. And my thing is, I just don't think 92 would have the offensive firepower to keep up. I think first half it would be like a good, 24-18 type game or 24-17 type deal where 2020 kind of just holding the edge. I think athletically and from a physicality standpoint, 92 defense would definitely slow the offense down, especially the run game. I don't think our offensive line would have been ready for that type of trench action back, that 92 was bringing. And then, like you said, in the secondary, you got who that was it? Langham and
Langham, T,
Shade,
Shade, Tommy Johnson.
T speed, man. He just was able. He would be able to put. I don't see nobody being able to walk down and cover Waddle, out of the slot. That would be a mismatch problem for them. And I mean they have physical safeties in 92, but just too much athleticism, just pure athleticism on the offensive side for 20 would give them the edge late in the game. Like Najee coming out the backfield would be a problem for 92 defense also. So yeah.
Can I put a caveat in this? Let's say that 92 is allowed to play with the rules of the 90s.
right?
Does that change? Does that change your answer?
I don't think it changes for the wide receivers.
No
I
targeting.
think that helps. I think it helps the wide receiver because if you try to get physical walking down on Waddle, you got to be able to touch Waddle, man. You get what I'm saying? You got Smitty, one of the smoothest, biggest.
You don't think Langham can do that?
Not 20 plays.
They won't put Langham on him. Langham will be on Smitty. Langham will be on Smitty.
He would have to be. He the only one big enough, physical enough to do it.
Hey, but that old line, man, Dickerson, Neal, Leatherwood. Come on, bro.
But the trenches
Copeland,
would have problems, though, man.
James Gregory wasn't no slouch either. And then to spell him was Shannon Brown. He was a beast. And then Damian Jeffries coming off the bench.
That'd be a matchup, boy.
That was a loaded defensive line. I think there's a stalemate.
Tell him, man.
I'll be honest with you. There's going to be a stalemate between the offensive line of 2020 and the defensive line of 1992.
Dickerson, though. Dickerson is the best I've seen in Crimson.
You're too
You
young
haven't
to
seen
remember.
much Crimson.
You're too young to. I love Eric Dick. I love
in the Saban era.
Well, let me tell you, let me say this. This is breaking news for Alabama fans. I'm telling y'all can thank me later. The 1992 Alabama team is the reason Chris James went to Alabama. I watched that 92 game when I became a Bama fan when I saw that 92 game against Miami. And I've been rocking this ever since. Chris can tell you. I was a Georgia Tech fan. You know what I'm saying? That was Georgia Tech coming off national championship. I was a Georgia Tech guy. But that game turned me to an Alabama fan for life. And that's the reason I told Chris, you're going to Bama. So y'all can thank the 92 Bama team for Chris James, who, by the way, is the record holder for block punts in the season. Show him some love, y'all.
Yes,
All right.
Roll Tide. Thank me later.
One of the best to ever do it.
I got my quickness from having to steal that last biscuit from Dan and running away from him.
Block the biscuit out his hand like a block punt.
Block the biscuit out his hand.
I thought you got that
Susie
speed
about to
from.
put it in the mouth.
I thought you got that speed from having to run out of the CC because the cops were called on y'all.
Because of border custom.
Matt Cadell,
I'm
interested to hear what you have to say here.
I'm call me crazy, call me caught up in the moment, but 92 team, like I just remember watching them and like this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And to see Curry, Copeland going against Dickerson, that offensive line, I mean, they're putting pressure on. They're getting to Mac Jones. They're getting to Mac Jones. I think the defense, they can hold theirs in the box. I think they can handle Najee. I think where the advantage comes through is, the 92 team, they didn't really have any offensive weapons on the outside. I think outside of David Palmer, I think that could come back and haunt them. But I'm not going to say that 2020 was blow them out. I think 92 would still find a way to win the game because why? The 2020 team had Pete Golden as their
right. I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Gene Stallings would have run it down their throat.
Yes, three-headed monster too.
I changed my answer.
Sherman Shea, Jay Barker, all of them would have got off on Pete Golden's raggedy defense. So I'm going with 92.
And what's one thing that Pete Golden couldn't do? Stop the run.
We can stop anything.
Look at that running back room. Sherman Williams. You had Derek Lassett, Chris Anderson, but then you had Martin Houston and then Terrence Lynch at fullback. And Lynch for a fullback can fly.
Hey, man, and then he wouldn't have double covered David Palmer. He wouldn't have bracketed him.
He would have left him one-on-one.
He would have tried a single
with
cover.
Josh Jobe.
Hey, and let us not forget a good example this past year, Jalen Hyatt. All he did was run verticals, and he torched us. Look at Kevin Lee. All he could do was run verticals, and there you go.
My answer changed. I'm going with 92.
Yeah, Pete Golden, my answer. Thank you, Matt, for bringing us back to reality.
Thank you, bro.
We won in 2021 and 2020 in spite of Pete Golden. It was because of Sark.
That's
spite
it.
of Pete Golden.
Yep.
That is
Because of Sark.
So I think this is real close, and it really depends to me. What rule set are we playing with?
90s.
Right.
90s.
Because if we're playing with the 90s, it gets interesting. If we're playing with modern rule set and they can get their offensive linemen 3 yards off, that's going to create all sorts of havoc for that 92 defense because you didn't have those RPO sets where the offensive line was 3 yards downfield. If the 2020 team can do that, it's going to create a whole lot of imbalance. And we talk about Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. Guys, let's not remember. Mechie was 90 yards away from 1,000. Jaleel Billingsley was on that team. Najee Harris was a terror out the backfield. So I completely agree. And Matt, you're right. I have no way that they'd be able to run it on the Bama defense in 2020. There's no, but to me, I just look at all of the weapons that the 2020 offense had. And it's one thing to be like, okay, well, Teague can cover Waddle and Ligon can cover Smitty. Well, what about Mechie? What about Billingsley? What about Najee out the back? You see, like we can just keep going to first rounder, second rounder, first rounder. That 2020 offense was ridiculous with Steve Sarkisian as the play caller.
It surely was.
Hey, Billingsley was too soft to go up against Sam Shade. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And Shade was a Pro Bowler for a lot of years.
Hey, Sarkisian ain't going to let him, though. Sarkisian going to split him out.
Hey,
that's the thing. Sarkisian's not going to put him in that position.
Hey, the whole 92 team would be on the sideline for targeting.
Hey, facts. That's another thing. Now, one receiver we know who ain't scared is Waddle. You remember
Mechie wasn't scared either.
No.
Mechie.
If we're doing 90s rules, it gets real tough for me. It gets real tough for me. It gets real tough.
I'm telling y'all, man, that boy, that Pete Golden, he would have had Coach Saban probably would have fired him by second quarter.
No doubt.
On the spot.
Nick Saban would have took over and called the defense that game. He would have.
Of course.
That had said, he would have been like, we did one of my coaches, man, unplug that mug. You can keep it on, but you can unplug this game.
If you had a headset on there, but it'd be unplugged. What are you running? What I call it?
Oh man,
good question right here.
Let's save that for next week. Let's save that for next week because this could go for a good while.
Next week versus
So next week, Michael, tune in. We will have this segment where who would win between 92 and 2011. The score will be 3-2, but it'll be an interesting game to talk about.
2020. 2011 against 2020.
2011.
I'm going 2011.
Yep.
2011.
That defense.
That was the most beautiful display outside that 92 championship game I ever seen. What we did at LSU in that championship game.
Yes.
Me and Dan was side by side at Marvin House.
Control the whole game.
We watched at Marvin House, Justin.
Watch
that game.
We will add that next week. All right, guys, we are running out of time. Before we head on out, everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're in the chat, let us know what you think. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section, leave your parting thoughts. All right, it's time to pop what you got, guys. We'll start with Ty Hayes. Tell everybody what you got going on and where they can find it. And shame on everybody in the chat who's watching if they've not yet jumped on board and subscribed to his channel. But this is your time, Ty. Then we go to Matt, Chris, Coach Smook, and end it with Final Whistle Dan.
Yeah, so most of the time you can catch me on YouTube at Around the Table Sports. I just talk constant college football content, but sometimes late at night you can find me on my OnlyFans. Reach Around the Table Sports, and we're running some incredible deals over there for the month of June, getting you all ready for the hot summer up ahead. Hope to see you over there.
Let's go.
Getting the summer workouts in.
Yeah.
Is Is there a promo code, Ty?
/ ATTS. I'll modify it for RATTS. Reach around the table. 50% off the month of June. Hop on it while you can.
Hey,
You can do a collab with Mac.
Hey.
11 the easy way.
Reach around the easy way is the collab.
Reach around the easy way.
Hey, when you finish with Ty Hayes, reach around OnlyFans. Come to my OnlyFans this week. It's called Plug and Play with Matt Kadyn.
Hey,
We're working on this technique. Promo code Stick and Go. So,
Matt the Packer. Green Bay Packer.
no, but for real, Football University, CTS Sports Room. But at the end of the day, it's all about the final whistle here on Tuesday nights, man. Dan, what's the name of yours?
Oh man, look at here, man. Man, you catch my OnlyFans, man. Since y'all guys done corrupted me, man, I went and opened me up one. Y'all can catch me, my OnlyFans, 3 minutes and a cloud of dust. But you know what I'm saying? Catch me on Twitter, Final Whistle Dan, you see the handle. You know, every week, every Tuesday, you catch me here, man. Same bat time, same bat channel.
I can't breathe.
My jaws are hurting.
3 yards.
oh man.
With all hairs, you can come around. You can come around mine. 48 minutes of pounding. Pounding ground. All 48. Hey, man, first 48.
First
The 2 minute drill. The 2 minute drill.
Let me get my out the way. Hey, I'm at Coach Smook on everything. You can find me on my OnlyFans.
Unnecessary roughness.
Unnecessary roughness with Coach Smook. And if you need any special recording needs, you can hit me up at my OnlyFans on the film room with Coach Smook. I'll break down,
Coaching them up
in depth breakdown and analysis.
Look at this.
All that
Man, got you, Chris.
I said 48 seconds, man. 48 seconds.
48 seconds.
The final seconds.
Oh man.
Hey, man, hey, I usually don't do this.
I usually don't. I'm so sorry. This has never happened to me.
Chris coming in as the plumber, coming in as the pipe.
Van is taking the chat back.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, okay. You can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr. On Instagram at CKJ Senior 32 and on Twitter at Coach Chris James, man. Y'all come follow me.
I challenge anyone in the chat to find another Bama content show like this.
Ryan Dillard.
We will not find it. And this is why we need more subscribers and we need more people in this chat because you're not going to find this kind of joy anywhere else. Everybody else is too serious. But yeah, great show,
You ever
gentlemen.
get neck muscle cramps from laughing too hard?
Go for it.
Pause.
But yes, guys, just kind of some program notes. Tomorrow night, the developmental focus points is going to be postponed due to the NBA finals, but they will reconvene next week. If you missed the Bama Standard, we had a great show tonight. We had a special guest co-host, Chris James, a.k.a. Dan's big brother, filled in for Stephen M. Smith. Did a wonderful job. And our guest of honor was none other than Tyrone Prothrow. So definitely go back and catch that if you happen to miss it. But yeah, we'll be right back here next week. If you're on social media, follow us on all platforms at the Bama Standard. We're on TikTok now, _Bama Standard. We expect full cooperation. And again, bring a friend next week, because if you're not watching this, you just don't love life, period.
That, and we'll run extra promos on our OnlyFans if you bring it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be in my
Get $99 a month.
And
I'll go ahead and put it out there. I'll run a free week.
Nice. Nice.
And they do
Yeah.
provide group
This
discounts.
is all I have on my OnlyFans, y'all. This is the only clothing I have on.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I wear
Only
on my.
towels.
Why is it crusted up like that?
Hey, you know how
that
crazy
natural.
it gets in the
Yeah,
green
No,
I know.
roll tide.